Hello, fellas and Sheilas. Welcome to another Hidden City Rollers Productions. I'm here again with Merlin. How you doing, man?
Good. What up?
All right, and what do we have here? We've got a top 4 match from the Cancon Court tournament, which recently took place in Canberra. And I'm actually playing this game, so I'm on the right here with Lion. I can't flip the coin for some reason.
Somebody's trolling. Like, I choose the red side. Oh, it's blue. No, we'll try. It's a bad flip.
So it looks like I've made Ben first player. So Ben's on the left. He's playing Scorpion. And this is an interesting matchup because we're actually playtest buddies.
Yep.
We drove up together. Well, he flew and we all drove.
Yep.
And we stayed in the same place. And we actually ran this matchup 5 times, I think, the night before.
Yeah. And it was getting pretty intimate, right? Like,
oh man, there were a lot of concedings and rage quittings from both sides actually. But I think I ended up taking the wins on that one. So this will be an interesting game to watch.
The Lions share, would you say?
Yeah. So another game with exquisite custom gear here.
Check out that top loader that the Scorpion Stronghold is in.
Oh, you got to protect the Scorp Stronghold.
You know, the Irish Cote was just last weekend, and on stream, one of the streamers had all these provinces in top loaders. I thought it was hilarious.
I love that. You got to protect the cards; they're invaluable in LCG.
You know, I've got one of these plastic full beads like you've got, and mine, the plastic sleeve that it's in keeps getting dents in it, which makes me fearful that the card is going to get dents in it. But
yeah. I know Rob, shout out to Rob, another one of our Hidden City Rollers from sunny Melbourne, Australia. He just plays his naked. And I'm a little afraid to do that because they're worth probably a couple $100 US.
Yeah, easy.
Especially the Scorpion one, given that stronghold is so good that it's going to be around for a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would like to make the Scorp player go first. I think this is generally good against Scorpion. What do you think?
What, player going first?
Forcing the Scorp to go first.
Yeah, I think that they're already generating just a ton of fate. And so, you know, any edge that you can get, you know, any fate that you can take off of them, you should. So, yeah, make them go first.
Yep. Okay, so I've done Dynasty Mulligan. Now I'm hitting up my conflict deck. Looks like I think I got 1 or 2. So this is a Lion Dragon splash deck. I was actually debating about taking Lion at all because I'm kind of down on them. Just because I think they're the clan that deals the worst with policy debate, and that card is so dominant. But I had a pep talk from an American player called Bill Jr. Shout out to Bill. And he sort of convinced me to give it another crack. And they are my clan, so in the end I was happy to take them, even though I didn't actually expect to win.
You got to represent.
Got to represent.
Check out Ben's shirt. Kind of matches his sleeves. With black shirt with pink Scorpion on it.
Yeah, it's
a black.
He apparently got that custom made like 10 years ago in old L5R. So
isn't
respect.
That fortuitous?
So we are good buddies in real life. We're all really friendly dudes, but we go hard, man. Like when we're competing, we go hard. So we're gonna pull no punches.
You're actually playing in this game, right? So you can talk us through what's going through your mind at this point.
So almost certainly that. On a general, I didn't want there, but the other 3 characters are pretty good. And in this particular matchup, I think just flooding is really important. And Lion are the best clan at flooding. So it's actually, I don't think it's that hard of a matchup for Lion. I think it's relatively even. And that is a lovely flip to see the keeper.
It's a nice keeper. Did Scorpion just pass? I think they did, yes.
Yep, he's passed.
Getting an extra fate, as they do.
So this Death Seeker is another late inclusion to the deck. I wasn't running it for a long time, but given my goals is usually just to win one big military conflict and poke with political, he really fits well with the political poke.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a nice clear view of the dials. It's 5-5. No surprises there. Why do I have 13 honor though? Oh, he's kicked it up with the manipulator. Yep. So 5-6.
I really like the Scorpion position, as you do. This matchup is... You know what? Let's see if we can figure out why this matchup is really tough for Scorpion. Because Scorpion do the same things in this matchup that they do in every other matchup. So what is it? What is the secret sauce that Lion have that makes this so difficult?
Well, by tough, I think you mean approaching 50% win rate as opposed to just blowing everything else away, which is a reasonable question to ask.
It's true.
Scorpion have a tendency to eviscerate everybody else. And I think Lion's innate qualities are what Scorpions struggle to deal with, and that is just flooding and
that's
counter flooding. And so this is pretty good for Ben.
Yeah, and he's actually not got any guys with Fate on it, right? So if he had guys with Fate on it, I assume he wouldn't be playing Miyamoto's Fury.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So Ben has... He and I have played this matchup many times. And he knows he needs to not play guys with Fate turn 1 when you're against Lion or Dragon. Generally, we've been playing a lot of matchups, and that's our opinion, is that you just why play guys with Fate, especially in clans like Lion and Scorp, where you don't really need to establish a board turn 1. Neither of these clans really need to establish a board.
No. I mean, Scorpion can just take their time and decide when they want to build up the board state.
Yeah. So he has won the Ring of Water, and he's just deciding who to bow.
So he spent 2 cards to do this.
Yeah, and he's also spent 3 Fate to play that Managed Threat with no Fate.
Yeah. That's quite the investment.
It is an investment. So I have a Ready for Battle. So the reason I'm playing the Ready for Battle, normally I don't really care if a Deathseeker gets bowed, right? But in this matchup, he has a certain amount of cards that will nullify my characters. He might have an Assassinate, he might have a Miyamoto's of himself, and there are various other cards, like Away the Scorpion on a Prideful Guy, for instance, will nullify that character.
So you want to force him to...
Exactly. You want to force him to spend as many as he can and still try and win the conflicts. Yeah. So I make pretty quick decisions when I'm playing Lion, because I like putting my opponent into the tank where I can just sort of relax. And so I'm in my groove when I'm putting my opponent to hard decisions. And that's what I feel like I aim to do with each Lion game. And so in this one, I'm just coming in straight away for Earth. And okay, so I've hit the cache. So it kind of sucks to hit the cache. It's not as bad as Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is probably the worst one when you're coming in for 1 skill, but it still sucks because it's like, okay, well now if he didn't have an Assassinate, he's surely got one. So these conflicts, these political pokes that I'm doing with Lion, I really don't care about the outcome. Like, preferably I'd win the ring, but if he has to play a card to kill my guy, that's fine.
It's really about attrition, isn't it, right? I think that Ben must be looking to build up a board position, and you're looking to deplete his resources.
Yes, I think that's a pretty fair assessment, yep. And I think there's sort of, like, the turn 1 in this matchup, and the way we've been playing and testing it, Down Under, it's a bit of a route. The whole first turn is a little bit of a... It's like a mini game. It's like foreplay, right? Like the real game begins sort of turn 2 and beyond.
Yeah.
And it happens as well when you're playing against Dragon, where you don't play guys with Fate. You sort of bid lower than you normally would, and it's kind of like a little bit of you're scouting provinces and so forth. So he's played Miyamoto's, and I've got the second Ready for Battle.
It's only fair.
So because he's played Miyamoto's, my gut tells me he does not have an Assassination. Because normally players would prefer to play an Assassination instead of a Fury, just because it's cheaper.
Right? Like there's a priority to things. If you can remove the characters from the table, that's top priority. And then if you can bow them, that's the next best thing. And then if you can send them home, that's the third best thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lion don't have like a cancel for kill like they do with bow.
Yeah. I like the fact that you're coming in with the political Ring of Earth. I think it's a nice little poke with the Deathseeker, because what do? Do you defend that, and then the Deathseeker loses a conflict, and then Deathseeker triggers?
Yep, so I think I was considering Earth or Fire. Fire's good because Fire lets me bring out the Keeper and turn on one of my Pride guys and give them a bit of a force pump. But I also was concerned that he would... just end the conflict if I play Fire and just kill my guy and then win the conflict, and then Fire's wasted. So I'd rather leave that for later. And by going for Earth, I'm hoping to pluck a card from his hand that's gonna hurt me in my military conflict, which is the one I really care about winning. So he's moved in the Cunning Magistrate with the favourable ground. I've passed, and he has policy debated, and we are bidding.
Oh, he's giving you some honour there.
Yeah, so he's bid 3. He needs to guarantee the win. I do have a tendency of bidding 5 on policy debate.
Really?
More than other players. Well, I just like to... So he's showing me what I got. I got 2 katanas, a fan, just a bunch of sort of mediocre stuff. What he's really looking for is for greater glory, and thankfully I didn't even have one. So anytime this happens,
he drops your charge here, right? Like I
think I would as well.
Yeah. Charge is such a great card when you can charge out like an Ujiaki or a champion with it. Nothing else in that hand compares to the charge.
Yeah, the rest are sort of zero cost buffs that just like my deck has a lot of redundancy, and it's intentionally built that way so that Policy Debate generally doesn't hurt that bad. For Greater Glory is the only card that really stings, but charge is pretty good. So he's stolen an honor. So I'm still okay with this. He's still letting me win the ring, which I'm really happy with.
Mm-hmm. Especially since he's just dropped a card out of your hand, right? You kind of want to replace that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I think the Scorpion's goals at this point are somewhat unclear. He's only initiated. Has he initiated any conflicts? No, that was the first conflict.
He did the political water and broke.
Oh, he did.
Yep.
Yes, sorry, he did.
So I pulled an I Can Swim, which is not the card I want. Like, to be honest, it's kind of difficult to trigger, and it really doesn't.
You don't even care if he does trigger it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst? I mean, Kitsu Spirit Call is the most important character, and she's never participating. So, okay, so now we're just waiting on the Scorpion player Simcof to decide on his second conflict. So that water he actually claimed. I think we realize in a sec it shouldn't be in the middle there.
Yep.
This was a long day of tournament and a long day of tournament matches. Sorry, and I think this was about our 7th or 8th game. So it was getting like the fatigue was setting in. But having said that, I was so wide and so amped by the whole experience. I felt like I was playing pretty well.
Don't you? Yeah. There's kind of this. It's not exactly a second wind. It's just this, I don't know, wave of energy that sustains you throughout the day. What do they see what do they say the secret to success of these tournaments is? It's like have a sandwich, prepare for a long day, bring lunch, bring dinner.
Yeah, it's they really are games of attrition, and I actually for a time played poker professionally, and those long tournaments wars of attrition. So I have experience of playing 20, 25 hour sessions.
Yeah. Do you have little gel things like high intensity cyclists have?
Yeah, I was just a fiend for the coffees, to be honest. Like I just love a nice flat white, soy flat white. Okay, so he's coming in for air. So he wants to equalize a little bit of this honor. He did donate 2 to me with Policy Debate, and he has run into perhaps the worst province for this particular type of effect.
What is that? Is that Pilgrimage?
That's Pilgrimage.
Yeah,
so it's
no good.
Yep. So pass.
Favor. Oh no, you still got a conflict.
Yep. So coming in for fire.
Quick decision making. These guys fire that province. Let's go.
Yeah. So
if you can, I reckon that is a tactic that people should employ more. Right? It really puts your opponent on tilt a little bit if you're playing against somebody who's able to make these decisions really quickly.
Yeah. So what that is one of my goals is. I have practiced this deck so much. I've played a lot of Lion, probably 100 games with this particular variant, and if most of the time decision making time is being spent by my opponent, it means his brain's overworking and mine isn't. I'm just sitting there waiting.
That's right.
And one of the things is you got to be careful about getting impatient when you're playing this sort of style. But if you can sort of stay calm, it's really good to keep putting your opponent on the defense. Okay, so he's calling in favors my first attachment, and I played another one.
He knew that was in your hand as well, right? So
yeah. So the reason I played it on the Dishonored guy is because I was worried if I play the Funky Ton on the other guy, he'd assassinate him. It's just a small consideration.
Yeah.
I didn't
you got to spread out your risk.
Exactly, yeah. So I managed to break, dishonor his character, because both my guys are prideful. So they're getting the Kabe Guard's already been re-honored.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling really good right now. I'm thinking that this turn has been a bit of a win for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that the Scorpion player now has spent 4 to 5 cards out of their hand, so that's their entire turn's worth of draw. Is he got the favor? I think he might have the... No, you've got the favor. How'd you end up with the favor? You had 2, he had 2.
I had
you
the
had the keeper,
yes.
Yeah, nice.
Shout out to the keeper rolls, His keepers
are incredible. So good.
I think overall Seekers are a bit better.
Seekers are better for economy, but I would definitely love to have Phoenix as a Seeker role, but keepers are pretty good too, right? Like free dudes. You can't pass up free dudes.
Yeah, and that extra influence, depending on your splash, means a lot. Like in if you're using Dragon Splash, it doesn't mean much because you could just get one additional card because of the 2 influence on each of their splash cards. But certain splashes, like, man, in putting in 3 Gaijin customs on top of a Unicorn Splash because you've got 13 versus 10, I mean, that's pretty hot.
Yeah, Unicorn Splash is actually really low on the influence cost, I think, a lot of the time, especially for their good cards. 2s and then 1s for Wayfinders.
Yeah, the Wayfinder's so good. Okay, so this is just about the worst flip I've had all day. I remember this happening and thinking, okay, paying for Biona and putting Fate on her is just a nightmare. And so I'm thinking, okay, I've got the favor, I'll hard buy Ujiaki, which is something you never ever want to do. I never want to do this. Like, this isn't a situation that I plan for. But sometimes you have to think on your feet, and this is one of those situations.
So, I think that's a Plagiarist on the Scorpion side there. I think that Plagiarist is amazing.
Fantastic card. And against certain matchups, it's borderline broken.
It's incredible.
Like against Phoenix, for example, if they play against the Waves, you just copy the effect and bow the guy they're ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the mirror, it's just disastrous too. It's really strong.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's played the Sinister Soshi, and I've passed and collected my fate because I got nothing else I can afford. So at this point, when you play a character for 7 fate and he has a powerful effect, my thinking here is don't get fate worse than death. Don't get fate worse than death. Don't get fate worse than death.
The thing here is, oh no, Ujiaki, you can just turn over 1 and then charge out your Bionas, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Do you get 2 of the characters out of the row?
You can pick up to 2. Yeah.
Up to 2. That's crazy. That character, Ujiaki, so much potential for blowout.
He has high blowout potential. However, if you don't have the favor, he's pretty bad. Like, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the Courtier module, he's okay.
If you don't have the favor, you don't buy him, right? I think if you don't have the favor in this situation, you don't buy him. You bought the Honor General.
Yes, I think, yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Honor General's just a better card. Yeah. Unless, of course, the specific situation where you have the favor.
Yeah, so now that you've got the favor, you can spend 5 or 7 on him.
Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm prodding, and my goal here is make him spend some nasty cards on me, or win the Ring of Earth and try and pluck the fate worse than death. Because I'm just...
it's there.
I'm planning for the worst, Yep.
So... Actually, something that I think that I learnt from you when this game was going
Assassination.
on,
go on.
Was that really what you need to be doing? Like, probing with little guys is a super important tactic. Because with cards out there like Feast or Famine and Restoration of Balance and things like that, you really need to be looking at what is in the provinces before you actually commit to attacks. And I think... another thing about creating space for you to attack into, if you just sort of prod, you kind of put your opponent into this position where they have to ask themselves whether they defend, which might open up an opportunity for a bit of a bigger attack later on. So what I see you do is you'll be like, each turn I'm going to do a major attack, frequently military, clearly, and just a little prod, a little poke. What's going on over here?
Yeah, and I think in a clan, it's a great point. I think in a clan like Lion, where you're heavily weighted towards one conflict type, it doesn't make sense to get greedy and try and go for significant wins on both types of conflict. I think it's a little better to make your deck more pointy, and then, like you said, use those scouting conflicts, which is super important.
So I think the Scorpion player is in a bit of an interesting position here, right? Like, he's facing down Ujiaki with nobody on the table anymore. He killed your guy, you killed his guy. And he's kind of been feeding you honor for a while, so
he's actually down to 3.
Yeah.
So he's played an assassination. He's lost some honor for unopposed.
Calling in favors.
Calling in favors twice. Yep.
You actually dishonored one of his guys. He bid more cards than you, I think.
With the manipulator. Yep. So he's The thing is, he knows my deck inside out. He knows I'm not playing like Scorpion Splash or like Dishonor Trick, so he knows as long as he's around 2 or 3, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, Scorpion are notoriously hard to dishonor out.
Yeah.
You know.
You need to sort of do
They're
tricky stuff like Seeker of Knowledge and
Yeah.
win, surprise air ring and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they're completely comfortable down at this level of honor.
So this is intriguing. So what's happened is he's passed his first conflict, and I've actually passed my second because I'm just completely aware that he has that card, or he should have that card at this point. He's drawn maybe 15 cards. So I'm just I've planned that he's got that card. So I've passed, and I think to myself, well, I'm keeping favor, and next turn I'm second, which gives me more opportunity to actually use Ujiaki without him getting totally owned.
Mm-hmm.
So the only downside to that is I'm losing a turn of utility from Ujiaki, and then he doesn't have to spend his card. But I think it's the correct thing.
I think it's fine, though. I don't think there's a need to commit Ujiaki into a fight where there's a virtual certainty that he's going to have a fate worse than death. He's certainly positioning like he does, right? He had plenty of fate, plenty of cards in his hand. You just take the risk. Do you just take the risk? I think the answer is no.
I think if you know the matchup intimately enough, you kind of get a feel for just how often the card comes up.
Yeah.
Given the 5 bids, the repeated 5 bids, it's So I'm buying Toreadory here, which is a little unorthodox as well. My flips, to be honest, aren't ideal. I haven't had a Brawler, I haven't had a Spirit Caller. But you play with what you're given, and I'm liking my board right now. Like I'm feeling good.
Is Ujiaki's ability while attacking or anything like that, while participating?
He's participating, yeah.
Okay.
So he's look, his ability on defense, the ability almost guarantees you win the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
On attack, you have the side benefit of potentially using.
See, this is kind of funny, right? If he bid 5 and you bid 1, he just loses straight away.
Yep.
But the odds of you not bidding 5 are really super low, and you bid 2 anyway.
Yep. I think he has to bid. He's kind of forced to bid 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think you have to.
So the reason I'm shuffling my deck here is I accidentally saw the top card of my deck.
Yeah.
I think I remember it was at Court Games. So I just told him and shuffled. I think that's standard procedure, right? Like if you accidentally,
Definitely.
And there's no malice here. Like we're buddies. To be honest, I would have been just as happy. I mean, not just as happy, but pretty damn happy if he went all the way. We had some great matches together. So he's played a Cloud, and I've just immediately let go.
Throws down another one.
And there's the other one. And there's the second let go.
Oh my god.
And he's just going, fuck.
Shit. I think at this point, because the plagiarist is a courtier, so I think he's trying to decide whether he wants to forge that second let go.
Yep.
To be honest, I think I do. I definitely want to cloud Ujiaki.
It's really tough. It is really tough.
It's either
it really depends on what else you've got. Like if you've got other ways to deal with him. Versus also, you got to consider: do I want to save that cancel for Greater Glory? But at this point, like I've got Toreadory with 2 Fate. Like, what is for Greater Glory really getting me anyway? At this point, like it's getting maybe my weenies stick around a little longer.
Yeah, this is true.
I remember this game just being an excellent game. I remember having so much fun with it. There was a play coming up, which I won't spoil, but there was some really unorthodox stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just really enjoyable. Okay, so he's his first player. He's just deciding conflicts. That's another thing. Is it's much trickier to decide which conflict and where you're going when you have a board disadvantage, because essentially you've got to kind of poke through this wall of characters, and it's really tough against Crab, I find personally. Sort of navigating that, like how to assign. Like if a player has one character in play, it just makes the decision so much more automatic and natural feeling. Creating openings, like you were mentioning before, is so hard in this game.
It is, yeah. A lot of the time, I try and do it by trying to get the opponent to commit first. So I'll pass conflicts, left, right, and center. If I'm looking at a wall of opponents, I'll be like, when in doubt, pass, right?
Yep.
Whereas this guy, right, he's going to send his guy in with a Ring of Void, get 2 more fate. He's got plenty of fate there to play a Catchco or to play a Magistrate or whatever he likes into this conflict. And you have just Ujiaki'd the shit out of that.
Yep. So I'm kind of goading him. I'm thinking to myself, look, I've got a decent board. If he fate, like, I'm never going to get the Ujiaki into For Greater Glory combo off against this player. He knows what's coming. He knows he can kind of see what I'm trying to be doing. We've played the matchup a lot. And so I think to myself, all right, I'm going to do this. Now he has to choose, do I play the Fate Worse Than Death on an Ujiaki who spent his action?
Yeah.
Or do I lose the conflict? And that's what I wanted to put into his head. That he has to spend a huge event just to win the conflict, given that my guy has already used his ability. And it's at Pilgrimage.
Well, I think you're on 7. You've given him a really good target, though, for policy debate. But
yes.
He's on 7, and you're on 7, and he's on
5.
6.
3 plus 2 for the fan. Yep.
Is it 3 for the Plagiarist?
Plagiarist is a 1/3, yeah. Yeah, he's a little understated for a 4, given the strength of his ability.
Understated given the strength?
Given the strength, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, they had to understat him, given that he's got such a strong ability.
His ability is crazy.
That's what I meant to say.
Absolutely crazy good, that card.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, all right, you want to spend like a Ketchiko or a Fate Worse Than Death or some sort of combination of Dishonor cards, but you still have to beat it by 5 to break and get the ring.
He's gone for Pilgrimage as well. I wonder why he went for Pilgrimage and didn't try and reveal another province.
Yeah, it's intriguing. What's the worst case scenario? Like he hits, what are my other 2? Art of War or Manicured. Manicured doesn't really do much.
He probably doesn't care too much about Art of War either. I think your hand's quite hefty.
Yeah, so he's played for shame. I've caught games, my Ujiaki. I think he's copying it with Plagiarist as we speak.
Yeah, so you would have said something like...
and I passed, he copied and played it.
Yeah, he copied it and played it again.
And now he's played one from hand. So this is a really strong interaction.
And he still has plenty of fate, just in case he ends up on the losing side of this.
Yep.
So what are you down to now? 5?
It's 5 on 5, and I put a fan in.
So 7. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, so a really cool interaction with Plagiarist is because max 1 per conflict or max 1 per turn tied into the card titles. He can actually copy your court games, and then you can play one from hand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really, really nice. And it's always good to do a double bonsai and get like +8 skill in a military conflict. It's pretty hot.
Yep.
So in all of these conflicts, my goal has really been to make him spend impactful cards on conflicts that I don't necessarily care about. Like, do I care if he wins?
You certainly don't care if he doesn't win by 5 or more.
Yes, that's it.
Because he's not going to get the ring effect, and really, yeah.
So I've won. I've claimed the ring. So he's decided. I'm thinking, okay, he's got the Fate Worse Than Death. He decided not to spend it, which is really smart.
Yeah.
So now I'm going in for a poke. Once again, so this is the 3rd conflict that I've done Political Earth with, where I'm just coming in. So more court games. There's a lot of court games being thrown around.
This is what happens when you draw 5 cards every turn, right?
So the Political Earth poke is something I've really been using against him. It's been really effective.
Yeah. Although that said, what are you attacking into? Meditations. I guess that's okay.
Another assassination. Boom.
Man, so much honor gone off that one.
Yep. So pass. It's fizzled.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay. I mean, it's not the best, but it's okay.
I think attacking in with the Stalwart... Is it that a Stalwart?
The Steadfast Samurai.
Steadfast. Yep. I think that is the right one to attack in with because he can't defend with anyone, so the odds of you losing the conflict are actually pretty minimal.
Yep. And so I've actually used Staging Ground before this conflict's begun, and I think I remember not having a charge. Could be wrong about this.
You want a position, though, that you do...
I do have a charge. Okay. Yeah, I want to at least give him the impression that I have a charge.
Yeah. Well, you do. You've just played it.
Yeah.
And then you can replace it with the Tactician.
Yeah, so I think... Did he pass? No, he must have
No.
He stole an honor for his first action, I'm pretty sure.
No, he used the City of Lies.
Oh, City of Lies, that's right.
And then he's used the Forged Edict, which actually doesn't cost anything, so now he has to pay full price for his Eat Bees.
So perhaps a minor mistake not using the lies before the conflict began, would you think? Or does that telegraph what you're trying to do too early?
Sorry, which lies? What are you talking
City
about?
of Lies.
Like City of Lies.
Yeah.
Before the conflict begins, I suppose it probably should have been done before the conflict.
Yeah. And so this conflict, I knew that Toreadory was getting fate worse than death. I just wanted it to happen on a character who had at least 2 fates, so I could at least use him the following turn.
Yeah. Although he's Dishonored now, which means Dishonored Toreadory is a bit of a neutered Toreadory.
He's very weak. And he's played his second Miyamoto's.
I think you're on the way down in terms of honor as well. So you're losing 2 this
Yeah,
turn.
I think I'm on 6, and I'm about to lose 2 more. So yeah, I've got to start looking at my honor, and it's at this point in the game that a Bayushi Kachiko can come in and just end the game.
Yeah, luckily he doesn't have enough fate for that, though.
Yes.
Does have enough fate for a unassuming Yojimbo or something like that. Did you break meditations?
No, he sent home to Toreadory and Bowden muted him,
right,
and then the other guy got Miyamoto's. So I lost 2 and down to 4 honor. So yeah, I believe no one won a ring. We won 1 each.
Yeah. Surely somebody must have won a ring. I think he won.
Ben won.
You won the Void at least.
I think Ben won. Yeah, no, I won Void on defense, and he won Earth, I believe.
All right. You still got 2 power characters on the table though. You're just going to refill with weenies.
Yes, that's
He's
the goal.
got Plagiarist, and we already said how awesome the Plagiarist is.
Any turn where you don't break a province with Lion, it doesn't feel good. Like that was one where that last Miyamoto's Fury really stung. I was like, damn, I thought I had enough to get that through, you know?
Yep.
But you've got to keep pushing through. So my first action here is just to play the Gifted Tactician. Excellent character, just a good 2-drop. Draws you cards if you win.
Mm-hmm. You're drawing a ton of cards this turn, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm a little nervous about my honor total now, and we're both on 4 honor, and I have a dishonored character, and I'm just sort of wary that right now we've only broken 1 province each, and I've got a scary board, but a game can swing really fast, and on a dishonor victory when you're sort of winning the rest of the game feels so bad.
Yeah.
So I played that, and he's thinking about what to play.
I think at this point Ben must be feeling the pressure. Who's got the favor? Nobody's got the favor.
I discarded it, and then it was a tie.
Draw.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the fauna comes out.
So this is, you can see an example of this sort of putting the pressure on, right? So the second Ben played the Fawning Diplomat, straight away you played the Imperial Storehouse.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing. When you've just made up your mind about what your decision is, you don't really have time then to make another decision really quickly.
Yeah, you're sort of still wondering, was that the correct move? And the guy goes, your move?
That's right. It's your turn again. Oh, you're making tough decisions? Make some more.
No, you can't do that with every sort of clan and every game style. So I bid 2, he's bid 1.
Yep. Which is surprising given the amount of cards you actually drew this turn. But anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to...
if you're digging for something.
I perhaps was. Yeah. I think with this board, I'm like, man, I want an FGG. Now I'm really nervous, though. I'm thinking, okay, air's sort of a priority.
Ben has got very few cards in his hand. Is that just 2 cards?
I can't remember.
It kind of looks like it. 2 cards is not a good position to be in as Scorpion.
Yeah, so that's one of the strategy that I was employing was to smash him with Earth as much as I can and force him to spend cards, more cards than I was spending. And you can do that by using your Lion Stronghold, which Scorpion have a sort of background economy card for their Stronghold, whereas yours is an immediate force pump. And so that requires...
It's like a bonsai, you know? It's like
a bonsai.
All on bonsai. Always on.
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion that if you're not using your stronghold often, then why are you playing the clan? Like, they have strong effects and they're always in play, and so you should always aim to maximize your stronghold. That is my philosophy on L5R. Okay, so
I think it's Ben's decision here. Oh no, you're deciding what. No, you've already attacked. So
I'm just counting my. Yeah, he's deciding if he's defending. I think I've just thrown everyone in except Ujiaki.
Yep.
Okay, so he's played a charge. So Hiraway is coming in.
Hiraway's going to bring Ujiaki in.
I think he was the only. I think he didn't defend with the others, or maybe he defended with either of those two scenarios. I can't remember.
Well, he might decide to let this thing go, pull Ujiaki, and then you're basically
vulnerable.
Extended.
Yeah,
you're going to get the keepers out, which is a thing. So, but I guess keepers aren't that big a deal to deal with, I suppose.
Keepers do prevent unopposed honor loss, though.
They certainly do. You're actually going to get 2 fire.
So I think what happened there, he's favourable grounded the Hiraway away, and I've for greater glory.
For greater glory. All right, so this is an interesting one actually, because I remember this point in the game. Toreadory's ability, you were. Let's step this one through. So you've won the conflict, broken the province.
I've been doing this out of order, annoying. Like I'm watching myself do this.
You were doing it in the right order. I remember because Ben and I both thought that Toreador triggered off winning, but he doesn't. He triggers off claiming. So you wanted to bring out the keepers, like you're about to do, and then you're going to honor the keeper, and then you're going to bring out the rest of the keepers. Because you're the first player and get to choose the order of resolution.
Yes, so I resolve the Ring of Fire, I dishonor Hiraway.
Yep.
Then I react with all 3 keepers, and then I resolve Toreador's reaction.
Yep. Which I think is quite smart, because getting out a 3/3 keeper is actually pretty damn good.
It was after this game I remarked to Ben that in this particular turn, having a mono Noaware would have just pretty much ended the game in his favour, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funky board state.
So I think this is when I realised what your sort of game plan is, right? You're just getting more guys out every turn. It's just been, I buy a couple of guys with no fate, and then they go away. And then I bring another couple of guys out. Maybe one of them has fate. He sticks around. The rest of them go away. And it's just like this building up of board position.
Yep, that's the strategy. It's important to not invest too much in the early turns, I think, because it's when your opponent's got the most cards in hand, the most options. He hasn't spent many resources, and he's got maybe 11 or 12 cards in hand turn 1.
Ben's only got 1 card in hand right now, and that has got to be devastating. But you know, you got to be in it to win it.
So this is I remember this conflict well. He's coming in for political air. Now I'm staring down this conflict. It's looking rough. I have 3 honor. And also I'm first player this turn, which means he'll be first player next turn. And so if he manages to claim back-to-back air rings, for instance, I'm in deep doo-doo. So I think to myself, all right, I need to make this pilgrimage at least not break as best I can. Because should pilgrimage not break, then the ring of effect is cancelled and I have a little bit of breathing room.
You're both very low on honor, so that ring effect is quite swingy at this point.
Yep. Yeah, so he's on 5, but he has a stronghold, so he's not really concerned with dishonoring himself out too much. I think it's more about...
Well, he's got to have less than you, so he's got to be less than 3, because you're pretty low.
Yes.
All of these cards on your side of the table are going to stay in play this turn.
Barring a mono Noaware, which, based on what I just told you, he doesn't have.
Yeah. So what is Ben thinking? You know, we were talking about the plagiarist a second ago, or a couple of minutes ago. The top card in your discard pile at the moment is a reaction. The plagiarist can't work with reactions. I think that's quite... Because the Plagiarist is actually the kind of card that you really have to think about when you're doing deck construction.
This is a pretty strong play.
Yeah, it might put you into a position where you have to think about how many event cards do I actually want with action abilities.
I remember there was a play in this game where I purposefully played an unoptimal event to turn off another one. I don't know if it was in this game or the previous round where we played also in Swiss. But at this point, I'm kind of shitting my pants, to be honest. I'm thinking, oh god, a 2-Fate catch coach, he's going to flog me, and he's going to break.
You're going to lose a Dishonor victory.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm seriously concerned that I've overstepped a little bit. So he's counting 12, and I'm counting 7. Now, the advantage I have here is he has no more cards in hand. So I have complete game state knowledge, which is really important. So he's winning by 8. He has nothing left to play. Barring if I play like a court games, he can steal it. So I think I actually did have a court games in hand. I was like, oh, I can't play that.
Have you already used his Plagiarist this turn?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
I distinctly remember having a card that I just couldn't play. I think it was court games. So I was kind of nervous. I was thinking, okay, well, if this breaks, I felt like I was going to lose, right? Because next turn he's going to...
Well, if you're on 1 honor, I mean...
I would be... at the end of this, I would be at...
I'd be
at 2 honor. And then... I was just nervous he'd have a dishonor effect or something, you know, some sort of effect too.
Something that you didn't think about, right? So you think that you've planned for everything, but of course, none of us ever do.
And because of the Fawning Diplomat, he's going to have favor. So Ujiaki can't be used next turn. So I was thinking, man, I'm pretty anemic on political. Like I've got... So I remember thinking, okay, I've got to spend some really bad fate. So he's still breaking, and I paid another 2. So I actually spent 5 fate on military characters just to get it over the line.
He's breaking now, though.
He's not breaking because it's pilgrimage +1 from the staging round. So
+1 from the staging round, right?
And so he actually kept his Fawning Diplomat back to defend. Should I have left 1 keeper back, which I think is fine.
Yep.
But in hindsight, cost him that ring effect. So I still lose. I spent 5 fate and 2 conflict characters. It was a very expensive defend, but I was super concerned that had I not done that, I would have been iced.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to look at what clan you're up against, right? If anybody's going to have some sort of sneaky, underhanded, lose 2 fate kind of ability, it's going to be Scorpion.
Yep. That's exactly right. And okay, so it looks like we're skipping ahead. Oh, he's thinking about his military conflict now. That was the other thing. He had still another conflict, so I was going to lose. Yeah,
that's at 1 at the end.
Exactly.
Of the turn,
yes, that's why I was thinking. Well, I lose next turn if I don't do this now. So I gained a fate. He ran into Manicured, and I think it enables me to play my last Miramotos. Charge. Yep. So this is a pretty typical line board.
There's no more room on the playmat, man. You got to get rid of some of those characters so I can see the wonderful playmat.
Oh, how about that Scorpion playmat that Simcof has? What a nice one that is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's are they clashing blades? On the
He's actually stabbing someone through a paper wall. There's like a blood. So I think it was pass, yeah, because he had no cards in hand, so he couldn't do anything, and I won the ring on defense.
I really like the Lion Magistrates. Really, really like that card.
It's really good. I think it's reasonably well balanced because it doesn't do shit against like Crane and Phoenix. It's not really that great, but against Crab and stuff, it's pretty devo.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Crab one. The Crab one's great against Lion, but not that great against anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good against Lion, and it's decent against Scorpion.
The Crab one's when defending, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So who's going to be attacking with their ones? Just Lion.
Yep. And I guess Scorp like to prod with their... So at this point, I'm very concerned about Dishonor Victory, and I'm also looking at my board and thinking, well, all of these characters are leaving at the end of this round, so I need to make this round count. I remember thinking to myself, this is the round where I need to put on max pressure. Like, I should by rights, he has no cards in hand, and I've got a huge board. I should be able to win this turn. And I remember thinking, I really want to get Void, because I want to get rid of Kachiko, because she's hurting me really bad.
Well, you're not in a terrible position. I think with these keepers that are on the table, 2 of them are at 3 political, so I think that's quite a good position. So those 2 and Ujiaki should be able to threaten a political conflict.
Yep.
Which should bow out some of the people on the Scorpion side. And then you just do what you do best, military conflict, to take the game.
Yep. So we got another Plagiarist. Right now there's Charge as my top event. Which is pretty good for him, to be honest. You can charge in a Nice. So I've Staging Grounds. He's already passed, so I'm just going ham here. Just counting up how much fate I would have had. I think I've spent 4 so far on 3 characters. I think at this point I pass, and I want to keep some fate for conflict side cards. Considering though,
I wonder what's going through Ben's head at this point. His board position's okay. He's got some fairly decent characters on the table. Is it 2 Plagiarists? I think it is. Hero Way didn't last very long, did it?
So he's bid 2. So this makes sense because he's got his stronghold, so he's getting a free card. I kind of have to bid 1. I'm a bit handcuffed. And he's stolen it back. Yep. So I'm back to 3. So what I think is going through Ben's head is I have a Dishonor win out here. I'm probably not going to beat him Conquest, all right? It's just going to take too long.
At this point.
But should I mean, at the end of this turn, if I survive this turn, my enemy is going to have no board.
Yeah.
Excluding the lucky For Greater Glory pickup, which may or may not have happened. I don't think it did, but...
Spoiler alert?
No, I don't think it did. I think my board wipes at the end of this turn. But I think at this point, I was getting nervous, and I started complaining to my opponent that I hadn't seen... That was my first brawler, and I also hadn't seen any Spirit Callers. I was like, man, I'm almost through my deck, blah, 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 whining. Which is a sign of weakness. I shouldn't have been saying that stuff. So this is the sort of turn that all of you guys watching this will have experienced, where the maths get kind of fuzzy, and the decisions can really be compounded on each other, and it really takes a long time to work through what should be done.
That's the Ring of Water with 3 fate on it.
Yeah,
you definitely take the Ring of Water at this point, and try and bow something.
Bow one of the 10 characters that's available.
Everything's open to bow.
The only thing is, if you go for water and your opponent gets a Toreadory Ring of Air, that kind of turns off your win condition pretty hard.
You make an excellent point.
3 fate is 3 fate, though. It's very, very tough.
What are you going to spend it on, though? You got 2 cards in hand?
Fate worse than death.
He's only got 2 cards.
Yes, those are the 2 that he's drawn this turn.
Yeah. There's no guarantee that those are fate worse than deaths.
Yeah. So this particular game is a lesson on forcing the Scorpion player to overspend, not with fate or honor, but with cards. Yep.
Yeah. Scorpion cards are better than everybody else's cards. The less of them they have, the better.
Yeah. And so if you can make them spend them inefficiently, or just, like for instance, you use your Stronghold and that forces the Scorpion player to spend a card, that is a huge win for you as a Lion player, or whatever clan you are. Because you're using something that's in play and they're having to spend one of their valuable control cards.
Yeah, he has gone for the
poke.
For the 3 fate.
Yep. So I remember thinking he's going to copy Charge, or he may have already copied it. I remember thinking to myself, I really want to win this conflict, because then I can get Pride off. And so if I get Pride off on 2 guys, I'm not going to get Dishonored out this turn, I was thinking to myself. And that will at least buy me another turn.
He's got that Illusionist, though, which can pay to remove status tokens.
So I've got 1 Honored guy and 1 Dishonored guy, and this would give me 2 more should I find the win. So I remember just thinking, all right, he's going to potentially charge out 2 people, because Charge is in my discard with the Plagiarist. I just really want to win.
I think he just used your charge.
He did.
Oh no, there's one in his discard pile. Maybe
I just no, that was already there. I just remember thinking, I was asking him which of the plagiarists used his ability. That was what that die there is for.
Right.
So these last 2 turns, like it felt like early on it was pretty even. In the mid game, I was really winning, and then the last turn or so has been tough.
Yeah, you get into the danger zone with honor, and then you're like.
And because my build doesn't actually run any of the the 1-drop guys that give you honor.
An honored blade?
Yes, the honored blade. So this was a last minute one-off inclusion that I put in, because I swapped that before the throne, because that was one of the ways I was generating a little bit of oomph to get to the later parts of the game. And I swapped it for Manicured because I was sick of getting farmed. And so I'm like, well, I got to kind of balance that out with some sort of honor gain. So I'm just like, I'll chuck in an honor blade.
Yeah.
And actually helped me win 2 games. So it's a bit of an underrated card, I think.
Well,
if you're bidding 5.
It's a force pump, and you do tend to win military conflicts. So
yeah, that's right.
I think one-offs are fine, to try and help, not with edge cases, but help you in cases that you're just kind of worried about.
So he's used the other plagiarist. I've passed immediately, and he has charged out the niece. And he's cycling. He cycles his own charge. Makes perfect sense. So this is that's a Kachiko dupe. Yep. This is another example.
Did he bring in Toreadory?
Yes, he dragged Toreadory in. Yep.
Challenging.
So we're just marking off who's used their abilities. Everyone's used their abilities. So game 1 for Honored Blade. So I remember thinking, all right, this is going to get me way out of the danger zone. I'm going to get 2 Pride guys off. I'm going to get an Honored Blade off. And now I can, if I still need more honor, I can attack air. So I claim the Ring of Water. So now it is my turn to decide what the hell to do. So now I remember thinking, all right, he's only on 4 honor, so he's got to be careful too.
If you can get more honor off of him, then he can actually not buy as many cards at the start of the next turn.
Yes.
You just press that advantage again.
I also remember thinking, if fire doesn't get chosen by either of us, next turn I'll be the first player and it will have accumulated a fate, and then I can go and get all my keepers back as my first conflict. So I remember thinking, I don't want to go fire.
Those keepers have actually done a lot of heavy lifting this game, haven't they?
You know what? They are just, I think they're a little bit underrated. I know people rate them pretty highly, but I think, man, they saved my ass.
They're just really good. Like in Phoenix, obviously, I really like them because they've got the 2 glory. So you just win some conflicts, get some keepers, 2 glory, favors yours, boom.
Yep. Yeah, they're great for stealing favor. So I'm going for Political Void here. So I'm splitting up my guys. I want Void because I want to clear off that Kachiko. I want to get rid of that character. That character's super, super strong.
And he's just discarded 1, so that's helpful.
So I've got a lot of skill. I've got 13 skill, 6 from the Keepers, and 7 from Ujiaki. And it looks like I've hit, is that Meditations? Yes. So this is like the ideal province to hit.
Yep. It's always unfortunate when you hit Meditations on the Dow with people without faith.
Yeah, for the person whose province it is. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Because otherwise, that province is fantastic, right? It
removes like a free void ring.
Yeah, it removes a lot of value from the board.
Mm-hmm. Well, so in certain games, I mean, it can be as game breaking as Feast. Maybe not as immediately, but it can break a game for sure.
What really annoys me sometimes is when you attack your opponent and you pick the Ring of Void so that it sort of takes it off the table. And the whole point of attacking the Ring of Void was to take it off the table, and then you hit a Meditations.
Yeah, that's awful. So actually, I was wrong. This is actually Shameful Display. Because he's just used Shameful and Honoured Kachiko and Dishonoured Ujiaki. So he's swung He's defended with 2 characters here, so 5 skill from the Plagiarist, and now up to 9 with Kachko.
The strength of Shameful Display can't be understated in situations like this, right? +3 to you, -2 for him. That's 5 force. That's big. So you think about that province, that's a 8 force province.
Yep. And I remember now... What's happened here? I'm bowed. Oh, okay, so I re-honored... I've played a court games.
He got sent home by...
Yeah, so I played a court games to re-honor my big guy. And then he's just catch code him home. So I think it was probably a play mistake by me to even spend the card. Or maybe no, I was thinking, I just don't want to lose the honor at the end of the turn.
Probably. I mean, you play it to re-honor him, I guess that's kind of fine. If you don't re-honor him, does she still send him home? Maybe. Probably not, though.
So now what I'm mad at myself for doing is throwing Void first. I was thinking to myself, man, why didn't I make Void on my military conflict where I know I can probably win it? Maybe I should have gone for Earth or something else. Maybe even Air. But the main objective was to tie up his big guys, which I did do. Okay, so he's coming in for his political conflict. He's running into Manicute Gardens, which is fair enough. And I'm still worried about Nautilus, so I'm just thinking I'll just chuck someone in front. 2 guys should be enough to win on the counterattack. That's what I was thinking. Court Mask. Great card. What do you think about Court Mask?
I think it's pretty good because it doesn't have a cost. It only has an effect. So it means you can sort of bring it back off somebody who's already dishonored.
Yep.
I feel like that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
You do have to keep spending 1 fate. Not that Scorpion have a real problem with accumulating fate.
So he's managed to discard my strength and numbers with the Ring of Earth and fill his hand up a little bit, which he was really struggling with, I feel like, this game.
Yeah, the Ring of Earth is definitely going to help in these kinds of situations.
Okay, so easy choice for me. Like I said earlier, I want to leave the Fire Ring. This is perfect for me. I'm thinking juicy. Next turn it's going to get a Fate, and I'm going to go for it first, and all my keepers are going to flood again. So I'm thinking I'll go for Air, put him more honor pressure. And I'm hitting up Shameful because I know he's already spent it, and it's unlikely that he's got in the hand of his 2 really powerful cards still. I was just thinking, I'm going to break this province.
We must be getting very close to time here, I think. So, looks like you're both kind of close on the tiebreaker points.
Yep.
I always wonder at sort of the 10-minute to the end of the round mark whether this is the right time to actually start thinking about tiebreaker points. I feel like it's probably not. I think the right time is somewhere in the middle of the match where you've got a feel for who's on top and what the tempo is.
Yeah, I think it depends on your deck. It depends on how long your deck usually takes to sort of develop its advantage. I think with Lion, I usually don't worry about it until later on. If I haven't won the game by like 45, 50 minutes, I'm starting to worry. But until then, I'm just going for province breaks and just trying to keep board advantage. Okay, so everything on my board is leaving. And he's still got Kachiko and a Plagiarist with a Fate, which is really nice. But I did break the province, and now I'm first player. I remember thinking, man, first player is going to be super important here, and he's got 1 honor remaining.
You're on his stronghold now.
Yes. So I think this game has been extremely tight. Playing 2 Assassinates by the Scorpion player kind of dragged both of our honor down by proxy because he was stealing mine. And so it meant that we sort of got to these lower bids a little earlier than this matchup typically does, I think.
Yeah, Scorpion really bid high a lot, like for a good number of turns. They need their cards, they want their cards.
Yeah, because they know that their cards, well, they've got the Safeguard of the Stronghold to reaccumulate.
To bring it back up.
Yep. So I think at this point I've got like 6 or 7 Dynasty cards, and I've seen in my deck left, and I see my first Spirit Caller, so I'm like congratulating myself on finally getting one out.
It's not a good game unless you get a Spirit Caller out, right?
Well, the games are certainly a lot tougher without that card. That card is
Yeah,
by far and away the best Lion
Yeah.
Dynasty
Yeah.
character.
Games with it and games without it, it's like night and day.
Yeah. I think Brawl is similar, but probably to a lesser extent. I think the
Yeah.
Spirit Call is the one where you just like, oh.
Damn that Spirit Caller.
Okay, so I think, yeah, time was approaching, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm not going to put Fate on this guy. I just need to have... I think I had cards in my hand I wanted to play. I'm thinking, I want to go for the break. Yeah, so I played both of them. 0 Fate on each. And because he's had a rally in his row, I know that his province lineup's a little unconventional. I think he swapped it around on me intentionally to try and throw me off. Which is smart, because like we test together, so we know each other's decks really well. And so from his perspective, even if it's maybe slightly less optimal to misdirect and sort of make me think about the game a bit more, is really smart, I think. So he's bid 2, I bid 1. So he's flirting with the edge now. He's down to 1 on a... He feels like he really needed the next card, otherwise he was going to get busted open. I think the reason that I bought guys with no fate is because I remember thinking it was approaching an hour. And that I had honor advantage and an extra...
You've got an extra province.
Yeah, so if time were to happen this turn, I was reasonably confident that I was going to make it. But I was still trying to win. I was thinking, nah, stuff this, I'm going to try and break. So I went military, fire. So fire, of course, that was all part of my master plan to... So he had pilgrimage under there. So he swapped rally for pilgrimage just for my match, which was kind of clever.
You think so? I'm actually never really sure about rally. I like rally's effect. Maybe I'm just a little bit spoiled because I play Phoenix and you've got Kuroi Mori, which has a very similar kind of effect. But rally with the once off, it just never really felt super impactful. Because people probe, right? People just like, I wonder what's under this province. Oh, it didn't happen. Like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's a good point. But when it does come off well, it really owns. So he's got his last policy debate off. So what do we got? Let go. I see what's that? Ready for battle?
I can't tell.
Ben's talked to me about this habit of like picking up the entire person's other hand.
There's an assassinator. I think I see an assassinator in your hand. In the way of the lion. Oh, and putting it down on the table.
Yeah, like, no, he says he loves to put their entire hand in his hand and then hold his hand in his other hand and just stare at them and compare card for card. Yeah. And he says it puts people in tilt, which I find hilarious.
Yeah. I think Jade Throne said something like that. Like, it really messes with your opponent if you just start studying their hand on the table.
Yeah. I know it's annoying as fuck. But like I said, I kind of just accepted that policy debate was going to hurt me, and sort of just trucked on through it.
You just embrace it.
Yeah, you embrace the lack of debating skills.
Lions Pride Brawl is all the debate that you need, right? Like
yes.
So in a political conflict, bows people.
I just remember thinking. The fact that he's taking so long to decide is good for me. I think he picked the best card. I remember being upset that he got way of the line. So I've immediately bowed Shoju. So I've identified...
Is that 2 Furies? That can't be 2 Furies.
No, I'm on attack.
That's your last... Oh, okay.
I know, he's just told me what he wants, because we've both policy... He's played a second policy debate, and we've just skipped ahead, because he knows my hand, and we both did one.
Yep.
So he's discarded the last Fury. And then I've immediately bowed his other ready guy. So now I'm thinking... I was thinking to myself, well, I can't bow Kachiko, or maybe I don't want to bow Kachiko.
Dishonor or bow. One of the Lions Pride Brawlers. Oh, and he's copied your Fury as well. Oh no, takesy backsies.
The Fury can actually bow a Brawler right now. But he also knows that I have a ready for battle in hand, because he's seen my hand, so he knows the Fury is not going to do anything. There's an interesting head games the plagiarist puts you in.
Yeah. And it shows the difference when you have kind of complete information as well, right? So he knows what's in your hand. So in his head, he's either going, oh, I know exactly what I need to do in order to defeat Bert, or
I can't defeat Bert.
I know exactly why I can't defeat Bert. My only way out is if Bert makes a mistake.
Yeah.
That's never good. You have to rely on
yeah, that's why I prefer to live in blissful ignorance and just not play the card. So
That's
he's
like
furied me, and I've
tactics.
used the ready for battle. And I remember I think we're at equal skill, 6-6. And I remember thinking, do I want to spend my Spirit Caller now, or do I want to go for a second conflict? I remember thinking it's going to be easier to go for the second one. And if I just win this, it'll get me all 3 of my keepers.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, then I can break Stronghold.
You're going to Toreadory, I think, aren't you?
Well, I was considering that.
I think you do, right? You get double fire, a whole mess of keepers.
Yeah.
And did you get a province?
Well, he's got 6 province strength, so I need another 6.
Yep.
This is excluding any sort of nasties he has in his hand.
Actually, that's another good point, right? So most strongholds have +2, but Scorpion's only got +1. So by putting a 5 under there, actually brings it up to sort of comparable strength with everybody else.
Yes. Unless you, like most people run Earth, 5 strength Earth ones, though, I think. My deck did. Okay, so I think I remember being okay with not spending any more cards on this and just thinking he can't actually make a conflict because I bowed out his board because I finally found my brawlers, and just being okay with taking this conflict.
No. He's having a bit of another think.
He goes, oh, wait, I can't, yeah. He's remembered that 3 more guys are going to march in.
I think at this point, time is really close.
Yes, it may have already happened.
Yeah, I think what he's thinking is, how can I get those points that I need in order to win? Because it's actually only a difference of like 3, and you only need to win by 1 point. And there's no honourable concessions in the top cut.
Yep, so he's played the Court Mask and gone +1, so he's up to 7, and then I've just used my Stronghold, so I'm up to 8 again. So I'm just trying to
win,
yeah.
Right? Although it is a pilgrimage.
It is a pilgrimage.
You're just getting the rings. So
yes.
Actually, maybe that's a reason not to get to Toreadory, because who cares about a double nothing?
Yes, it's a fair point. Yeah, so if he has one way the Scorpion and I don't have another pump, then he can just prevent me using my Spirit Caller. And I was thinking, well, how's he going to... If I throw in 3 keepers and a Spirit Caller to a next conflict, how's he going to beat that? That's what I remember thinking.
We've sort of been at this position for a while.
Yeah, I think he's just racking his brain for outs in this situation, and there perhaps aren't any.
Yep. Your brain kind of goes into that loop, you know? What about this? And then you forget 5 seconds later, what about this?
Yeah. And I think he's just called it there. He's saying, you're going to get the keepers, that's it.
Yeah. Because you actually, even if he does manage to get up on honor, he's still not going to win, I think, on points.
Yep. So I think that was a pretty good game. It showed the Lion Scorpion matchup pretty clearly. Like I think Ben's an excellent player, and he's one of my primary playtest partners. We play a lot of matches together.
He actually he went all the way down to the wire on that one.
Yep.
There was he kept hanging on, kept looking for the opportunities to get back into the game. I think it was definitely a very hard fought game.
Yep. And that turn where I had Kachiko, or where he played Kachiko, had I not had exactly 5 fate worth of dudes, who knows what would happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, with that, thanks for watching, everyone. This has been the Hidden City Rollers. Stay tuned for more stuff.
Peace.
Peace out.